The Giants, meanwhile, opposite end of the spectrum here, it's Malik Nabers, Matt, and not much else. The only problem with that is Malik Nabers is dealing with a toe injury. It's a mysterious toe injury as well because they're just not really telling you what it is, and they're not really telling you how or when he's going to be 100%. He also had a shoulder injury earlier in training camp. I am extremely worried about Malik Nabers and his pairing with Russell Wilson as well. This is a team that it seems they are absolutely on the precipice of disaster, especially given their wide receiver depth behind Malik Nabers.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Man, yeah, I agree with you. It's a little weird that like Malik Nabers, he's just kind of always dealing with something, right? Like it just kind of always feels like it's something, and it's like a very, very little, It's not like, oh yeah, he's out for the season or this, that, and the other. He's kind of always dealing with something. And it's felt like that. Like they were kind of cagey with the injuries coming into training camp. So
right,
really hope he can be healthy because. My God, dude, I wanted to kind of like pose this to you, and you said you weren't high on the Russell Wilson to Malik Nabers to Malik Nabers connection.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you don't feel this way, but I just wonder like how high this guy could fly, because he's one of, we talked about this on the last episode. He's one of just like a handful of receivers the last 2 years to push over 30% of his team's targets. Look at the guys that are on the team this year. He's going to do it again. I actually think Wan'Dale Robinson, who somehow had 90 plus catches and fewer than 700 receiving yards, like we got to do away with some. Those targets are going away now that Daniel Jones is not in the mix. Right. Russell Wilson is not doing what like the Wan'Dale Robinson hitch routes. Like that's not happening.
Are we sure about that? Russell Wilson was a big time check down guy last year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think much to his chagrin. Right. Much to his chagrin, he didn't want to be that guy, but I feel like Sean Payton just beat the crap out of him his last year in Denver. I was like, dog, you better start throwing these checkdowns, man. Like, I'm tired of the Russell Wilson just scrambling around experience. And it feels like the last couple of years have been pretty check down heavy for Russell Wilson.
Actually, you are extremely right about that, about everything that you just said there, because I was talking with our guy Josh Scott today. He does some good data work for us occasionally, and because we were talking about he's a big Kenneth Walker fan, so we were talking about like how much does Sam Darnold check down? Not very much, by the way. But yeah, Russell Wilson, actually, I was looking this up because Fantasy Points data has this. Each of the last 2 years, which of course, to your point, and this is why I think you're dead on about this, Sean Payton was with him in 2023. He has been just a complete like touchdown to check down read player. Absolutely. In 2024, Russell Wilson was 5th in check down percentage, according to Fantasy Points data, 11.3%. Justin Fields actually 14.9%. I wouldn't really think about that. Maybe that'll be interesting for Breece Hall this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the two of the same guys there, obviously on the Steelers, but both of those guys were in the top 5 in 2023 as well, where Russell Wilson this is all among quarterbacks that took 150 plus dropbacks, 18.6% check down rate led the NFL in 2023.
Good God.
Justin Fields, by the way, again, was 5th that year. So there's actually a lot of turnover between those two guys. And yeah, if you go back to the 2022 season, which is obviously prior to Sean Payton, Russell Wilson still rather high, 10.6%. So I do think he has just become a little, but it's more so now. I think he's just like very, touchdown to check down. But I mean, dude, that might be like Tyron Tracy, catching these check downs. Like it wasn't as if the Steelers had some secondary receiver that was popping up with George Pickens.
Yeah.
It was like Jalen Warren or, Najee Harris.
Totally. It was the running backs for sure. 100%. It's an interesting pairing here with Malik Nabers. I will say this, when I looked at the Malik Nabers route tree, obviously you see a lot of green on there and there's just so much to get excited about. Mm-hmm. That being said, just so little of his route tree actually broke to the outside, less than 20% of all of his routes were outbreaking. We're talking about the corner, out, comeback, and flat. Less than 20% on those four routes. That was a little bit of a surprise. Now the corner route has kind of sort of like gone away in the NFL, but you know, it's just not very frequent nowadays. I felt like, and again, I don't know, I'm just speaking out of, you know, experience, but it felt like there a lot more corner routes were being thrown back when like Des Bryant was wrecking shop or whatever, you know? So we're talking like early 2000s or whatever it was. Anyways, yeah, but less than 20% though, Matt, that was a little bit of a surprise. And maybe it shouldn't be, because even out of LSU, his start-stop ability, his ability to sink his hips down and really just throttle down was just, I mean, spectacular. But I am surprised that they didn't try to throw him to the outside just a little bit more.
Yeah, to your point, Malik Nabers actually told me when we sat down and had a conversation at the Super Bowl that his favorite route to run was like a 10-yard stop route, which is you're selling go, go, go. There's actually a really good clip going around on Twitter right now. People can just search Hunter Renfro's name. It'll probably pop up. But he had a whole big, because obviously he's a route running technician. He's talking about, hey, man, like, you just got to sell these guys vertical every single route, sell vertical. And that's how you manipulate these guys. And then you snap it off, and then that's how you create separation. Basically, if you sell vertical every single route, you can create separation underneath. That's Hunter Renfro talking about that. Now think Malik Nabers selling vertical. And then he's a guy who obviously
funny.
That's what his favorite route to run, he told me, is like sell vertical, 10-yard stop, turn around, create separation. He did actually kind of take some time to kind of get better at that in the NFL. In college, his curl route success rate was really, really high. It was kind of average in the early part of his, it was average in the full season sample. But then if you go back and if you look at the in-season rookie report, it really improved over the course of the year. I think he just learned more about what the NFL is. Because, yeah, you go back to his collegiate profile, 23.5% curl route rate, 81.8% success rate. In year one, it was 76.6%, which is good. But again, it's like kind of within the average. So, but that was a big improvement over the course of the year. He talked about this too recently at a press conference where he's like, you know, last year I was just kind of running my routes, you know, but now I'm learning more about like how I can open things up for other guys, like how the whole play works together. So that's what's, dude, I'm telling you, like, this is what I love about this guy is because, again, after having that conversation with him, he was just so thoughtful about the receiver position. And
that's amazing.
That's how the best guys are, man. Every time I talk like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or Stephon Diggs, like they're just so thoughtful about route running. They all talk about Keenan Allen and like how much they watch Keenan Allen's game. And those guys are like freak show athletes, and they're trying to like model Keenan Allen's route running. Shout out to Keenan Allen, who's back in the league. Crazy stuff. But anyways,
crazy stuff.
One thing I wanted to point out about the Russell Wilson thing, though, because I think that, you know, look, I've been skeptical about Russ basically ever since his last year in Seattle. I was not in on the Denver experience, mostly because I didn't think he fit with those receivers all that much, although him and Cortland Sutton eventually had a nice connection. And it was primarily same reason that he was good with George Pickens last year, which is go routes. Last year, Russell Wilson, according to Fantasy Points data, had 72.9% yards or 72.9 yards per game on go routes and post routes, which was number one among the quarterbacks. He had the 7th best passer rating among guys that take double-digit dropbacks. Malik Nabers last year, 64.4% success rate on the 9 route and 92.9% success rate on the post. Not a lot of post routes because, James, how many go routes and post routes can you remember from Malik Nabers' season last year, like getting the football? There was that one against the Colts at the end of the year from friggin' Drew Lock. Other than that, it was not a lot. So I will say, as skeptical as I am about Russ, and like when I look at the Giants' early season schedule, I see a lot of areas where Russell Wilson can get himself into trouble and get benched for Jackson Dart, who the team is obviously going to want to see. But damn, up until that happens, I do think Russell Wilson and Malik Nabers are going to be showing out on those go routes.
Oh man, I love the fact that that this front office and this coaching staff, they're drafting like they just signed a 5-year extension. You know, it's like, oh yeah, you know, we're gonna go bring in Jackson Dart, a developmental quarterback. We got to go get him. We gotta go get him. This team was absolutely terrible last year. They have so many team needs all over the football field. Now, you know what, man? We're gonna spend a high draft pick on Jackson Dart. Like, that's the kind of move that like Andy Reid makes. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, let's just see what's going on. You know, because hey, let's just throw some stuff on the wall and see what sticks. It's fine. That's the stuff that Kyle Shanahan does. You know, it's like, come on, bro. Like, what is happening? I can't believe they draft like this. Anyways, which is why they're in this position that they're in. You look at this wide receiver room, though, Matt. Again, I said it's Malik Nabers and not much else. We've got Darius Slayton, who continues to be on this roster. I mean, the guy was a free agent and they re-signed him. Like, what? That's amazing. That is amazing. It's incredible. Wan'Dale Robinson is a slot gimmicky guy, and they continue to wait on 2023 third-round draft pick Jalen Hyatt. Now, Jalen Hyatt shows some ability to get open downfield and win in contested downfield. He looks like he might have a role as a downfield player, but this is not a. I mean, and dude, look at the rest of the depth chart, guys. It's crazy how many UDFA guys are on this roster as a wide receiver. Like, that's nuts. And they just it feels like they need some depth, Matt, but they just don't have it. I will throw this to you. Is this one of the 5 worst wide receiver rooms in the league?
Man, it's hard because I think Malik Nabers is already a top 10 type receiver in the league. So it's kind of hard to say this guy is a room with that guy is one of the worst, but it's really light. I think Darius Slayton's like a 3. You know, I think he's a guy that can stretch the field, right? If you go back and look at some of his seasons that I have, he definitely has 9 route juice. He has route juice. You know, I think he's going to actually the 9 routes. He'll catch a few. Good luck predicting when they're going to be, but he's going to catch. He's going to 4 per the time Russell. I don't want to say season because I don't know if Russ going to make it the whole season because they got a first round pick behind him. But I mean, he's going to catch 4 cool go routes from Russ
for sure
over the course of the year. But then, I don't think much of Wan'Dale Robinson. Just like a replacement pop gun slot receiver. It is hard to have that many targets and that few. He had a negative EPA per target last year. You know that? Throwing the ball to him was you're losing points. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I mean, I can look it up here.
That's
if
insane.
we filibuster, but it was pretty crazy. But the other thing, dude, I forgot Jalen Hyatt is on this roster. I kind of forgot about him, to be honest with you, because he just hasn't done much in the league. And he was a prospect that I don't know, man. I was really skeptical of. He produced in weird ways. It was kind of in that Looney Tunes Tennessee offense, 4th percentile success rate versus zone in his prospect profile.
Oh boy, that's not good.
So not very good.
and it's interesting too because a lot of these Tennessee guys, they did absolutely nothing their rookie year. We started to see some signs. There's a lot of these players. We started to see some signs their second year. And really developmentally, we're talking 3rd-year players. And again, it's a small sample size here, but I mean, I think of guys like Joshua Palmer did nothing his rookie year. Cedric Tillman did absolutely nothing his rookie year. These Tennessee guys need a little bit of seasoning, but because they're pretty good athletes, you know, they do tend to emerge a little bit here. So I do wonder if Jalen Hyatt's got a little bit something, or if the environment's just so toxic that he's just never going to get on the football field. Yeah,
it just seems like it hasn't really happened for him. Promised this. Last year, 76 qualifying receivers. Wan'Dale Robinson was 75th in EPA per target. So not good. For full transparency, for accountability here in reception perception, I will say do you know who was 76 among this list? No. Elijah Moore. So, it is sadly. Jontavian Wicks was 74, but we know why he was losing EPA. Okay. But it's these guys that have that don't get a lot of yards after catch, but are guys that again, Wan'Dale Robinson 7.4 yards per reception minus 0.23 EPA. So and again, that's the thing. I mean, Elijah Moore is a guy that I think can actually get open downfield, and only caught fewer than 60% of his targets because again, we know that
Yeah.
He was not playing with good quarterback play. Wan'Dale Robinson got 66%. He has the highest catch rate among all guys with negative EPA per target. So
That's
just again, that's not normal. I think those targets will get dispersed elsewhere. Sleeper King.
Yes, sir.
You know who's a deep sleeper in this offense, though, if I can give you one. Theo Johnson, tight end.
I was gonna say you're gonna throw out Theo Johnson, crazy athlete.
Big time athlete. Theo Johnson, 6'6", 259. I'm on James Koh corner here. Posted a 91st percentile 40-yard dash, 96th percentile vertical jump, 93rd percentile broad jump at the 2023 scouting combine. So I kind of think he could be the second most catches on this team.
I really like Theo Johnson. I think he's got a little bit of ways to go developmentally. And yeah, it's an interesting place. I will also say this too. They actually, in my opinion, I think they have two really good tight ends. Daniel Bellinger, I think, is a really good tight end too. And I think he's a little bit more refined than Theo Johnson. It just happens to be a Theo Johnson, man. Like, you talk about the athletic traits, dude. This guy's big, powerful, strong, fast. He's a freakazoid when we're talking about athletic traits. But I think Daniel Bellinger could play too, guys. You know, I really like I like Belly of the Beast, Daniel Bellinger. So no, we'll see what's going on, man. But for my money, I'm going to go ahead and say I think this team is one of the 5 worst wide receiver rooms in the NFL. It's interesting you put Malik Nabers that high. I love Malik Nabers, but man, wide receiver so deep in the NFL, hard pressed to put him in the top 10 for me. Which is why I would rank this wide receiver room as one of the 5 worst.
That's fair. I think he's to me, when I've done my real life rankings this off season, yeah. I've had him kind of around like 8 or 9, right there with Drake London, right kind of behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. And look, I've said that I think that's like a big second tier. You know, I think the guys from last year like BTJ and Ladd McConkey also belong in there. I do think Ladd McConkey was better last year than Malik Nabers. I just think Malik Nabers brings just a different level of explosiveness downfield, which is why like I would rank him ahead like going forward. You know, it's like Mike Evans is in there, Terry McLaurin, guys that are older. Ayuk, when he's healthy, belongs in this tier, but he's not healthy right now. So that's kind of why it's just. And like, what do you do with Tyreek Hill? Obviously, I would just much rather have Malik Nabers was 2 times better than Tyreek Hill last year, Tyreek Hill's got a better history. So I think he belongs in that group. And obviously, receivers really deep, but I mean, he put it on tape last year, and again, just everything I've heard, like him talk about playing the position, it's just I'm really high on how he approaches it from. Like not even just a route running craft perspective, just the whole approach to like, I talked about this in his profile for Malik Nabers. What he like from an after catch perspective, you know, this guy was somehow he's only in space for 48.4% of his sample catches. Maybe he won't be much in space this year. Cause I'm talking like, I'm excited about the Russell Wilson go routes, not exactly getting in space if you're running go routes. He only went down on first contact on 41.9% of those plays. And, you know, again, I asked him like, when you're in the open field, like what goes into being a great after catch player? And, you know, normally I expect these guys to say, well, you know, bigger, faster, stronger. He really talked about like studying the details of players and how you can kind of manipulate guys in the open field. Same way that, again, Hunter Renfrow manipulating in routes. Malik Nabers is bringing that like attention to detail with the ball in his hands and like studying certain zones. And all right, well, this guy, if I catch it here, the guy's going to be here. I just think, again, like, could be just on that clear upward trajectory, but let's just hope the injuries are we're all good there. Fingers crossed.
We got to hope for injuries. We got to hope for quarterback play, and we got to hope that Brian Dable does not lose it on the sidelines, man.
Other than that, we're good.
We're good. There's a lot going on, man. Poor Malik Nabers, dude.